You know, I always love stories about celebrities meeting other celebrities, and I recently spoke with Warren Beatty about when he encountered Muhammad Ali on an airplane, and he had a great story about that. Now,
Really?
tell me about your meeting with Muhammad Ali.
He was premiering a film in London, and it was called Freedom Road with Chris Christopherson. And myself and the lady I was with at the time were invited to the pre-screening reception, and it was in I think it was the Hilton Hotel in London, and it was where Muhammad Ali was staying and his entourage. So we went up there, and eventually the man himself walked in, and he was going round everybody, shaking hands, and I thought, when he came to me, I thought, I can only say one thing to this man before he moves on. I'll never meet him again in my life. So when he came to me and my knees were literally shaking, I just said, Muhammad, I love you, you know. And he gave me a big hug and signed something to my father, and he then started flirting with my girlfriend, and I was terribly impressed by that. Like, oh, Muhammad Ali flirting with my girlfriend. That's great, you know, like a real dodo, you know. But it was great to meet him.
I've always been fascinated at actors' early film roles, and recently I was speaking with Patrick Stewart about his screen debut in Excalibur, something you can identify with.
That's right, yeah, we both donned suits of armour and rode the hills of Ireland, questing for King Arthur.
Well, how eye-opening an experience was that for you doing that film?
Excalibur. It was like, I thought I had arrived in heaven. And as each year goes by, it just becomes more crystallized. For a start, I was a huge fan of John Boorman's. I mean, I think he's like a true filmmaker. You know, a man with a vision. And even in his unsuccessful movies, there's always some theme there that's fascinating. And to be in County Wicklow, which is, you know, south of Dublin, where we shot these Arthurian legends. I mean, I've always loved them, and to be in shining armour on horseback with swords and lances and stuff, it was just great. And then dashing back to do a play at night. I was in the Abbey Theatre then, and that was weird. That was like coming down to earth, you know, having to take all this wonderful gear off and come back and do a show.
You know, you've been in some amazingly far-flung locations, you know, from The Mission, The Bounty, Schindler's. How did being on location in those movies compare to being where you were for this film?
Well, I mean, yes, every location is different, but there's something, they're different, but yet they're the same. You know, you're surrounded with the same type of group of people, you know, who work in the industry. But the Carolinas are so beautiful. I mean, we were literally in the middle of nowhere. Well, and I really get off on that. I love that.
Yeah, was that a really pleasant change of pace? I mean, after your last year, the last couple of years for you to being out of the way like that?
It sure was. It was great. I can watch paint dry on a wall. And down there you can get the chance to do it, you know, when we weren't working. But a great leisurely pace, rhythm of life that reminded me of growing up in Ireland. It was very, very similar.
There's a great scene where you're working the fishing rod, and you looked very at ease with that. Now, didn't you develop a real talent for that while you were on location?
I don't know if I had a talent. I'm still an amateur, but Ellen, our props lady who in Nell, our props lady who worked on A River Runs Through It, she lent me her rod and gave me a few lessons, and I really got hooked on it, no pun intended. And took my rod to Scotland to do Rob Roy McGregor too, where there's lots of great salmon and trout fishing there. So, you know, so I do love it. It's going to become a passion. I know it.